concept of aggrieved entitlement was termed by an American sociologist, Michael Kimmel, and what it refers to is this idea that the world is passing men by, that there was this ideal time where men could become the sole breadwinner, go and work and gain a job for life, have a level of stability and upward mobility that is no longer within their scope and within their capacity. And so the argument goes is that it actually drives resentment, a sense of humiliation and shame and anger.
Surely, though, many years have passed since feminism was introduced and many women have entered the workforce and are contributing to the economy. We have an inclusive society now. Are we able to presume that perhaps these angry young men are dwindling in numbers?
Yeah, it's a really important point. Unfortunately not. We actually see that younger men in that 18 to 35 age range are more likely to hold prejudiced views towards women's rights. And if you link that and look for reasons, well, a big part of that is that they're online. And there's an online ecosystem of anti-feminist, anti-women websites and key actors and influencers that are particularly important in shaping their views.
Yeah, you talk about how there's been a breakdown in traditional family, gender roles and support systems like the church and trade unions as well. So these angry young men are finding these support systems online.
And that's right. The free market economics has in some ways lifted women up. Women are actually moving into the professions and have that upward mobility that they never once had historically. But on the other hand, it's led to greater insecurity. It's led to greater precarity of work, less connection to community, and less connection to institutions that may have once solidified a sense of identity and belonging. And so people are going online to look for that.
Now, you talk about how women have basically been included in the economy and they're in the workforce as well. And many of these angry young men feel that they've been robbed of their traditional roles, and particularly in the economy as well. How does the cost of living work into all of this?
Yeah, so we're facing some really unprecedented challenges in society at the moment. We've emerged from the pandemic where the cost of house prices has risen exponentially over the last decade, but even more so post the pandemic. The cost of living crisis is another key factor driving a sense of an upward trajectory, a future being out of people's reach. People can no longer afford necessarily a basket full of groceries and a challenge and struggling. And so when people face that sense of economic crisis, the sense that they can't build the future that they thought they could, particularly were told that they could when they were younger, people get angry. People look for something to belong to, something that explains the way they're feeling. And misogynistic influences, but also extremist groups are really good at targeting that sense of anger.
So this is something that's very important for policymakers to keep in mind, I suppose. How would they be able to keep that in mind to ensure that young men don't feel isolated or disassociated from engaging in society?
Yeah, it's a whole of government approach and it requires obviously getting the economy right and working for people again, but it also requires the way we understand what it is to be a man in society and to be comfortable with women making as much money and more money in many cases than men. It's how we teach and how we engage with young men from a young age about societal standards and the future of work.
Are you seeing more families and popular culture addressing this?
Look, there is popular culture sort of influences that are having a sort of positive shape and role, but really there's a lot of work to go. We're still seeing that people are being given a platform in politics, online in particular, without any form of regulation that really targets the worst of people's character. It really focuses and hones in on that anger, that sense of alienation and that anxiety about their future. And there's a lot of grift in these online spaces. People make a lot of money from it. So there's a lot that can be done to regulate it as well.